It's the summer of 1989, and Michael J. Fox's career is going through a bittersweet transition. Back in 1982, he scored a starring role on the hit sitcom Family Ties, which he would call home for more than 7 years. Add on top of that the success of the mega hit Back to the Future in 1985, and what you have is a once-in-a-lifetime culmination of success. Up until this point, these two franchises were a safe haven for Fox when his other movies were doing less than triumphantly at the box office. But all of that was about to change. What was it about the third film in the Back to the Future series that would represent a major shift in Michael J. Fox's personal life and career? Well, sit back, relax, grab a glass of wake-up juice, and let's take a look at the chaotic past of Michael J. Fox and Back to the Future, Part 3. The first Back to the Future film shoot saw Michael J. Fox pulling double duty, shooting Family Ties during the day and Back to the Future at night. He was also, at the time, replacing an actor who had already shot 6 weeks of footage before being fired from the production. I covered this in my video, The Chaotic Past of Back to the Future. I'll leave links to that and Part 2 down below. Ironically, 4 years later, Michael J. Fox found himself pulling double duty once again between both of his signature franchises, only this time it would be the beginning of the end of both properties. Family Ties' last episode aired on May 14th, 1989. Back to the Future Part 2 wrapped filming on August 1st, 1989. In between those two events, Michael's first son, Sam, was born on May 30th. After only a 28-day break from shooting Part 2, filming began on Back to the Future 3. On the whole, making Part 3 was almost like a vacation for the cast and crew. It was shot over 300 miles from Los Angeles in Sonora, California. The town square seen in the film was built from scratch. The production was given permission to build on the land for free as long as they left the structures intact for future productions, which they did. However, ironically enough, the town square burned down 6 years later from a bolt of lightning. Back to the Future Part 2 brought a chaotic whirlwind shooting schedule with it, and Part 3 was no different, at least at the beginning, as far as director Robert Zemeckis was concerned. Zemeckis filmed Back to the Future 3 during the day and edited Back to the Future 2 by night, literally flying back and forth from one movie to the other, which made things very heavy for him. The biggest enemy of the Back to the Future 3 production was rain, which caused delays throughout filming. However, this didn't dampen the spirits of the cast and crew. Christopher Lloyd, for example, got to have his first on-screen kiss as a leading man with actress Mary Steenburgen, who played the local school teacher, Clara Clayton. Steenburgen was originally apprehensive about doing the film, but was won over in large part because of the stunts that would ensue, and the fact that her children loved the first film and begged her to be in it. Prior to filming, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Tom Wilson, and Mary Steenburgen all received training on horseback to be able to pull off the major stunts required in the film. Everything was going smoothly until Steenburgen got injured while rehearsing the dance festival scene. Apparently, she and Christopher Lloyd were rehearsing a little too enthusiastically, which led to an injury. In a quote taken from the book Back to the Future, The Ultimate Visual History, Steenburgen remembered the incident like this. Chris and I were being kind of overly zealous about our dancing, and he went one way and I went the other, and I tore a ligament in my foot, which made it not quite as fun over the next few weeks to dance on it. The book went on to state that she had her leg wrapped tightly with a bandage, which was luckily covered up by her long dress in the scene. A small cameo from the band ZZ Top turned into a mini concert for cast and crew while a broken camera lens was being repaired. Michael J. Fox requested that they play Hey Good Looking, and after they played the first song, they just decided to play more for the production. In fact, Robert Zemeckis and crew had the lens fixed up much earlier than he had let on. When asked by ZZ Top's vocalist, Billy Gibbons, when the lens would be fixed, Zemeckis responded that it already had been for half an hour, but he just liked hearing them play. Back to the Future 2 came out during the filming of Part 3, and the box office numbers gave the cast and crew a pep in their step. While the reviews were mixed, there was no doubt that the sequel was a hit. However, there was a brush with danger involving Michael J. Fox in the middle of shooting. One day, while doing the stunt where Marty is hung by the Tannen gang, Robert Zemeckis asked Fox if he could make the swinging more realistic. In his book, Lucky Man, Michael recounts the incident like this. This shot was not designed to include my whole body, so for the first couple of takes, I stood on a small wooden box. While this was technically a stunt, it was also my close-up, so Charlie, Fox's stuntman, was on the sidelines. No matter how I shifted my weight, the swinging effect was not realistic, so I offered to try it without the support of the box. This worked well for the next couple of takes, but on the third, I miscalculated the position of my hand. Noose around my neck, dangling from the gallows pole, my carotid artery was blocked, causing me briefly to pass out. I swung unconscious at the end of the rope for several seconds before Bob Zemeckis, fan of mine though he was, realized even I wasn't that good an actor. Aside from his near-death experience while filming on set, Fox experienced a second brush with death when his father, William, died from a heart attack on January 6, 1990. Thankfully, Back to the Future 3's production finally wrapped 6 days later on January 12th, allowing Michael to properly mourn his father's death. After a grueling 11-month filming schedule between parts 2 and 3, Michael J. Fox's acting duties were finished. Back to the Future 3 was released in theaters on May 25, 1990. It didn't perform as well as the other two films and made only $244 million at the box office, with middling reviews. In comparison, parts 1 and 2 grossed $385 million and $331 million, respectively. Well-known film critic Roger Ebert complained that the Western film motif was like a sitcom version that looks exactly like it was built on a back lot somewhere. Well, you can't argue with the truth, I guess. Although, who's to say that isn't what it looked like back then? For example, these pictures from that time period look pretty close to the sets built for Back to the Future 3, in my opinion. And with that, the Back to the Future saga was over. Michael J. Fox entered a new era where he became a father and lost his own within a span of 6 months. A new era where both of his most famous characters, Alex P. Keaton and Marty McFly, were retired from the spotlight. But wait a minute, that's not quite true. Marty McFly would return in cartoon form in the animated series that debuted in 1991. I was a big fan of this show when it came out. Picture this, it's Saturday morning in the 90s. You jump out of bed, run to the kitchen, and fix yourself a bowl of sugary cereal, which you add even more sugar to. You think to yourself, wouldn't it be great to watch one of the Back to the Future films? Yeah, it would, but you've seen them a million times already. Well, you flip on the television and what do you see? You see Back to the Future, the animated series. Marty, Doc, Clara, Jules, Vern, and even Einie are back for more time travel adventures. On top of that, Christopher Lloyd was back to introduce each episode in live-action form. And so was Michael J. Fox, right? Well, no. And while he may have been absent from the animated series, as well as the ride that debuted at Universal Studios that same year in 1991, he did finally make a return to the role in Back to the Future: The Game, released by Telltale in 2010. Although Marty McFly was voiced by actor A.J. Locascio this time around, Fox made a voice appearance as a relative of Marty named Willie McFly. He also played multiple versions of an older Marty from different dimensions. Throughout the years, Michael J. Fox has also popped up in some fun cameos on talk shows like Jimmy Kimmel as Marty alongside Christopher Lloyd as Doc. Also, as recently as 2020, he appeared as Marty in the Old West in the Lil Nas X video, The Origins of Holiday. It's always heartwarming to see one of my favorite actors still doing his thing. He's not just fantastic as Marty, he's also hilarious in movies like The Secret of My Success, and my personal guilty pleasure favorites like Life with Mikey and Teen Wolf. He still has great comedic timing, which he's showcased brilliantly in roles on Curb Your Enthusiasm and Rescue Me. Not to mention his decades-long work raising awareness and money for Parkinson's disease. If I could go back in time, before he was about to say goodbye to the beloved Back to the Future franchise, and just before he was about to find out about his life-changing diagnosis, I would simply want to thank him. I'd thank him for his great work up until that point in time, and for the great work that he was about to embark on for the rest of his life. And more than anything, I'd let him know that he was going to make the future a better place. And he still does to this day. We're lucky that this legend is still among us. So, thank you, Michael. Before you go, don't forget to push the like and subscribe buttons with your train-powered DeLorean, and feed the notification fire with Doc's special logs. It would really help my channel, plus you'll know when I release a new video, butthead.